What happens when a music legend sits down for what should be a simple interview only to be hit with questions sharper than anything a critic ever dared to say? In just 33 seconds. One comment from Jennifer Hudson would crack the polished facade of daytime TV niceness and expose the uncomfortable truth about how the industry treats its own icons. The studio lights blazed hot that Tuesday morning as Chaka Khan stepped onto the set of the Jennifer Hudson show. She moved with the quiet command of someone who'd ruled stages for more than 50 years. Her voice had cut through disco, funk, soul, and R&B. She wasn't just a guest, was the queen of funk. And she came expecting the respect that title deserved. Jennifer Hudson sat behind her desk, shuffling note cards with the well-practiced smile talk show hosts were after years of forced enthusiasm. The audience was warmed up, ready to react on cue. But no one, not the crowd, not the host, knew what was coming. Welcome back to the show. Jennifer beamed to the cameras, her voice bright enough to qualify as stage lighting. I'm here with the incredible Chaka Khan, and we're going to talk about her amazing career. Ka settled into her seat with the poise of someone who had done this 1,000 times. A quick chat about her latest project, a story from the old days, a polite good but that was the expectation. She didn't know Jennifer had planned something entirely different. So, Chaka, Jennifer began, leaning forward with an expression that looked like interest but felt like something colder. You've been in this business for a really long time. Already, the phrasing was off. Not your influence spans generations or your legendary career, but a line that made Kasa's 5 groundbreaking decades sound like she'd simply overstayed her welcome. Chaka's smile tightened. Yes, I've been blessed to share my music for many years. And you've seen so many changes. Jennifer continued, that glossy smile never wavering. The industry is completely different now. Artists today have to be more than singers. They have to be performers, entrepreneurs, social media stars. There it was, the subtle dig. The insinuation that Chaka came from an easier, simpler time. As if building a career without the internet or streaming gore basic industry access was somehow easier. As if she hadn't fought for every inch in a business even more closed to women, especially black women, than it is now. Well, Jennifer, Chaka said evenly, a thread of steel in her voice. We had to fight for everything back then. There were no shortcuts, no auto-tune, no second chances. You got one shot in the studio, and you made it count. Jennifer let out a laugh that wasn't remotely warm. Oh, I'm not saying it was easy. I just think artists today have more challenges. The competition is fiercer now. Ka raised an eyebrow. Fiercer now? She had competed with Diana Ross, Aretha Franklin, Stevie Wonder. She had fought for radio play when stations refused to spin music by black women. She had built her career show by show, note by note, in an industry run almost entirely by men. And this young host was explaining competition to her. Competition has always been fierce, Chaka replied, her tone sharpening. The difference is, we didn't have reality shows to make us famous overnight. We earned our place. The audience shifted. The temperature seemed to change. This wasn't in the cue cards. Jennifer pushed ahead, her smile thinning. Of course. And your hits AM, Every Woman, Ain't Nobody Theory still so popular. Although, she hesitated just long enough to make the moment dangerous. Do you ever feel like your style of music is becoming a little outdated? The question landed like a slap. Silence. Total. Studio-wide stillness. Chaka stared at her, an expression so sharp it could cut clean through steel. Outdated. The woman who influenced Whitney Houston, Beyoncé, and half the modern R&B landscape was being called outdated by someone whose fame began with singing other people's songs on TV. Outdated. Ka repeated softly, dangerously. Jennifer sensed the shift. But instead of retreating, she doubled down. Well, you know music today is more electronic, more produced. Young people want something they can relate to. Are you suggesting, Chaka said slowly, deliberately, that my music isn't relatable? That 5 decades of songs people have lived, loved, and survived by are less meaningful than whatever auto-tuned trend is hot this week? The air turned cold. Jennifer's smile finally cracked. I didn't mean it like that, she stammered. I just meant the sound has evolved. Evolved. Chaka leaned in, eyes blazing. Baby, I was evolving before you were born. I was mixing genres when people said it couldn't be done. Asterisk, I was writing songs about women's empowerment. When that was revolutionary, Chaka said, her voice low but blazing. So don't you dare sit there and lecture me about evolution. Jennifer looked like she wanted to sink into her chair and vanish. But she had struck the match and, now she was standing in the middle of the fire she'd lit. I think there might be a misunderstanding. Jennifer began weakly. There's no misunderstanding, Chaka cut in, her voice rising just enough to slice through every layer of daytime TV politeness. You invited me on this show to disrespect me, to paint me like some dusty relic who doesn't understand modern music. She leaned forward, eyes razor sharp. Let me tell you something about modern music, sweetheart. Half these young artists you're praising, they sample my songs. They build their careers on the foundation I poured my blood into. And you want to call me outdated? The audience went dead silent. Some viewers sank into their seats, uncomfortable. Others watched with the wide-eyed awe of people witnessing a master class in handling disrespect. Jennifer tried again, reaching for control she no longer had. Chaka, I really think we're having a miscommunication. I have nothing but respect for your legacy. Chaka rose from her seat, and suddenly she seemed 10 feet tall. My legacy. Honey, I'm not legacy, I am current. I am present. And I'm not going to sit here like some museum exhibit you dragged out for nostalgia points. Please. If we could just, Jennifer tried. No, we couldn't, Chaka snapped, her voice now carrying the full force that had defined her career. You had every chance to conduct a respectful interview with someone who paved the way for artists like you. Instead, you chose to be condescending. That's on you. Jennifer looked around desperately, hoping a producer would cut to commercial anything to stop the collapse happening on her own set. But the cameras stayed trained on her, and Chaka wasn't finished. You know what your problem is? Chaka continued, her voice echoing in the stunned room. You think because you won a singing competition and landed some movie roles, you understand this business. You think sitting behind a desk gives you the right to judge artists who are changing the world while you were still in diapers. The words hit like blows. Jennifer's face flushed from embarrassed pink to a deep, burning red. She'd lost control of her show, and everyone knew it. I never meant to judge, Jennifer whispered. Her voice sounded smalfragile against Chaka's power. But that's exactly what you did, Chaka said, grabbing her purse from beside the chair. And the saddest part? You don't even realize how disrespectful you're being. That makes it worse. The air in the studio felt like a pressure cooker ready to explode. Chaka stood with her purse in hand, disappointment written across her fascia, disappointment far sharper than anger. The audience barely breathed. Chaka, please. Jennifer tried, voice cracking. Let's just take a breath and start over. I think we got off on the wrong foot. Start over. Chaka laughed, but there was no humor in it. Honey, there is no starting over from disrespect. You don't get to insult someone and then ask for a do-over when you realize you screwed up. I wasn't trying to insult you, Jennifer said, her voice rising with panic. I was trying to have a conversation about how the industry has changed by calling my music outdated. Chaka fired back, by suggesting real artistry is somehow less valuable than whatever manufactured nonsense is topping charts this week. That wasn't a conversation. That was an attack. Jennifer's eyes darted around the room in silent pleas for help. No one moved. Look, maybe I chose my words poorly. Jennifer tried again, voice trembling. But I really was interested in your perspective. No, you weren't, Chaka said, unflinching. You were trying to make yourself look relevant by making me look irrelevant. You wanted to position yourself as the voice of modern music by framing me as a relic. That's not curiosity. That's cruelty. The truth hit the room like a shockwave. Even some camera operators exchanged glances, shaking their heads. I would never try to make you look irrelevant, Jennifer insisted weakly. You're a legend. Everyone knows that. Then why didn't you treat me like one? Chaka demanded. Why were all your questions laced with backhanded insults? Why couldn't you just ask about my music without implying it doesn't matter anymore? Because Jennifer started, then froze, realizing she had no defense. For a moment, it looked like Jennifer might actually say it, the truth behind whatever impulse had driven this entire interview off a cliff. Because you what? Chaka pressed, leaning in. Because you thought you could score a viral moment by disrespecting someone who's been in this business longer than you've been alive. Because you thought tearing down a legend would make you look bigger. Jennifer's face drained of color. Chaka had hit the bullseye, and everyone in the studio felt it. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't an accident. This was manufactured, drama-calculated disrespect. That's not true, Jennifer said, but her voice had lost all strength. Isn't it? Chaka challenged. Then explain why you invited me here just to question whether my music still matters. Explain why you implied I don't understand the modern industry. Explain why every word out of your mouth treated me like some confused old woman who wandered onto your set. The audience was locked in silent, wide-eyed. This was no longer a celebrity spat. This was a masterclass in dignity under fire. Chaka Khan was demonstrating exactly how a legend confronts disrespect. Chaka, I think you're misinterpreting my intentions, Jennifer said, grasping for control. I have so much respect for you. I grew up listening to your music. Then you should know better, Chaka snapped. If you truly grew up with my music, then you know what it means. Songs like I'm Every Woman weren't just hits, they were anthems. They gave people strength. They changed lives. And you want to sit there and label that outdated? I didn't call it outdated, Jennifer insisted, though weakly. Yes, you did, Chaka said, without hesitation. You asked if my style was becoming outdated. Those were your exact words. Don't rewrite history, we all heard you 5 minutes ago. Behind the cameras, operators were practically vibrating. This was pure, unscripted television gold. I was asking about musical evolution. Jennifer tried again. Not saying that your music doesn't have value, by framing it as outdated versus modern. Chaka shot back. By suggesting young people can't relate to real music. By acting like artistry matters less than follower counts. That wasn't curiosity, that was judgment. I wasn't judging, Jennifer said, but even she didn't believe it. Then what would you call it? Chaka demanded. Because from where I'm standing, sounded like you think 5 decades of groundbreaking work doesn't measure up to whatever auto-tuned, computer-generated, focus-grouped nonsense is topping charts this week. The impact of each word landed like a blow. Jennifer flinched with each one. I never said your music doesn't measure up. She said desperately. You didn't have to say it, Chaka replied. You implied it. Every question you asked was a little dagger. You suggested today's artists have more challenges. You asked if my style was outdated. You acted like being a social media star is more impressive than reshaping popular music. The room was so still, the hum of the air conditioning felt loud. Everyone was witnessing a legend dismantling the host who had tried to diminish her. Chaka, sorry if my questions came across wrong, Jennifer said. That wasn't my intention. Your intention doesn't matter, Chaka said coldly. What matters is what you did. And what you did was invite a music legend onto your show just to disrespect her on national television. That says everything people need to know about your professionalism. Please don't say that, Jennifer begged, her voice cracking. I didn't mean, but that's what you delivered, Chaka said, unwavering. And the saddest part is, you probably still don't understand why it was wrong. You probably think I'm overreacting to innocent questions. Jennifer opened her mouth. But Chaka wasn't done. When you've spent decades fighting for respect in this industry, you know disrespect the second it shows its face, Chaka said. And today, honey, you served me a full plate of it. The audience shifted, the tide turning. Sympathy for Jennifer was evaporating, replaced by disappointment. I don't know what to say, Jennifer whispered. There's nothing left to say, Chaka replied, adjusting her purse with a final, decisive motion. You said everything with your questions. Now, I've said everything with my response. The moment hung in the air, heavy, electric, unforgettable dot. Jennifer sat frozen, shell-shocked. Chaka stood towering, radiating the calm power of someone who knows she is absolutely in the right. Finally, Jennifer croaked out one last plea. Chaka, what can I do to make this right? Chaka looked at her with something close to pity. You can't make this right. Some things can't be undone. You chose disrespect. Now you have to live with the consequences. But surely there's something, Jennifer begged. Some way we can move past this. Move past it. Chaka let out a short, bitter laugh. You want to move past the fact that you used your platform to diminish a woman whose shoulders your entire career stands on. You want to brush aside the moment you called music that shaped generations outdated. I never meant to diminish you, Jennifer said, her voice trembling. Or your music. What you meant doesn't change what you did. Chaka said, her voice cutting through the air like a blade. And what you did was show your true colors. You proved to everyone watching that you think success gives you the right to look down on the people who came before you. The audience was utterly hypnotized. Dozens of phones were raised, recording a moment they all knew would be replayed for years. That's not who I am, Jennifer insisted, her voice shaking. Then who are you? Chaka shot back. Because the woman I've been speaking to for the last 20 minutes is someone who thinks she can insult legends and face no consequences. Someone who believes that sitting behind a desk on television gives her the right to judge artists who were changing the world before she was even born. Tears welled in Jennifer's eyes. But Chaka didn't soften. You know what's really sad? Chaka continued. You had a chance to have a real conversation with someone who's endured everything this business can throw at you: struggles, triumphs, hard-won wisdom. And instead, you wasted it with cheap, insulting questions designed to make me look irrelevant. I'm so sorry, Jennifer whispered. But the words fell flat in the tense air. Sorry doesn't fix this, Chaka replied, her tone like ice. Sorry doesn't erase the disrespect. Sorry doesn't change the fact that you treated me like some museum artifact you dragged out for ratings. The camera zoomed in on Jennifer's unraveling composure, capturing the total collapse of her authority. Please, Jennifer begged. Please don't leave like this. Chaka stopped, turning back with regal finality. Like what? With my dignity intact. With my self-respect in one piece. With my head held high because I refused to let someone half my age talk down to me on national television. Jennifer began. You just what? Chaka snapped. You just thought you could get away with it. You assumed I'd sit there quietly and swallow whatever disrespect you served. You figured because I'm from an older generation, I wouldn't know how to defend myself. Every word landed like a blow. Jennifer seemed to shrink into her chair. "That's not what I thought," she murmured. "Then you're either lying," Chaka said, "or you're not as sharp as you think. Because everything about your attitude today says otherwise." The audience didn't dare breathe. "I don't know how to fix this," Jennifer admitted, barely audible. "You can't," Chaka said bluntly. "Some mistakes are permanent. Some disrespect can't be undone. All you can do is learn from this and pray you never make the same mistake again." Jennifer swallowed, defeated. "Will you ever be able to forgive me?" Chaka paused. Her expression softened a fraction. "Maybe, someday. But forgiveness has to be earned. And that starts with actually understanding what you did, not just apologizing because you were caught." "I am trying to understand," Jennifer pleaded. "No. You're trying to make this disappear," Chaka countered. "You're searching for magic words to erase what happened. Understanding means accepting that you used your platform to tear down instead of build up." Silence cloaked the studio. Even the crew looked uncomfortable. "What do I do now?" Jennifer asked, sounding like a lost child. "Now?" Chaka said. "Now you deal with the consequences. Explain to your producers why your guest walked off. Figure out how to salvage whatever credibility you thought you had after treating a music legend like trash on live TV." Jennifer's face crumpled, the full weight of the moment crashing down on her. "This is going to ruin everything." "Maybe it should," Chaka replied. "Maybe people who disrespect legends shouldn't have platforms in the first place." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Everyone understood they were watching a career implode. "I never wanted this to happen," Jennifer sobbed. "But you caused it," Chaka said with devastating finality. "Every choice you made today led you here." Jennifer glanced around helplessly, hoping anyone would save her. No one moved. "I guess this is goodbye," she whispered. "Yes," Chaka said. "It is?" She adjusted her purse, then looked straight into the camera. "To everyone watching at home, remember this: respect is not optional. When someone has paid their dues, earned their place, shaped the culture, you show them the dignity they deserve. Period." With that, Chaka Khan walked off the set, head high, leaving behind a shattered host and a stunned studio that had just witnessed television history. The Queen of Funk had reminded the world why legends wear crowns, and why not everyone is ready for the weight of their own platform.